Go.
Stop. Love your wife and listen.
Collaborate, and listen.
Welcome back
to another episode of the Entrepreneurial Family Man Podcast. I am Chris Niemeyer, here with my good friends Chris McCluskey, Michael McGreevy, and Jamie Slingerland. We are just four guys who are crazy about our wives. We love our kids. And we want to kill it in business. This show is all about talking about those domains, addressing the tough issues of life. And today, gentlemen, we want to talk about collaboration. Like the great philosopher Ice Baby Vanilla Ice says, stop, collaborate, and listen.
He was ahead of his time, that Vanilla.
Listen, he's an entrepreneur now, right? Flipping houses and
He does that, man. He's giving McGreevy a run for his money. He's got his own like HGTV show or something.
What he doesn't know is I'm working on a rap album. That's going to dwarf Ice Baby.
Okay.
So we're talking about collaboration or Vanilla Ice here. What's the deal?
90s rappers is today's show. 90s rappers. No, it's just this idea, and you've heard the African proverb, I think it is, that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. We just want to discuss from our perspective this idea of collaboration. There's never been really a better time in history, I think, with the ability with the internet and leveraging the power of that to connect with people all around the world. So guys, let's talk about this idea of collaboration in business and in ventures that you do or projects. Why is collaboration important in what we do?
Well, that's the reason why EFM is here. We saw that we were all having a similar conversation. We all were passionate about similar things. And so it was our first thought, how can we do this together so we can get more leverage and enjoy each other while we're doing it and have a good time too and make a big impact?
Yeah, it goes along for what me and Ruthie are doing, where we like variety and like doing a lot of different things. I mean, I get a check sent in the mail from Chris McCluskey to my house every month because Ruthie's an academic advisor working for PCCI, and she loves the work that she does. She's an independent contractor, and she's not a full-time employee because she really thinks of herself as an entrepreneur, and she gets to do work that she loves on a very part-time basis, and bless the McCluskey family. And so that's a perfect example of a win-win. And it benefits me too because goes in the same account and I'm married to her. So I love it.
Thank you. To cash the check.
Thanks, McCluskey. I appreciate it.
Hey, it really is how we do everything here. Collaboration, Chris, you said it at the beginning. It's just, there's never been a better time to collaborate because of all the tools that are available to us now, just like us all joining here from 4 different states and at a great distance, but we're on video screen, real time recording something that now is going to go all over the world and can be listened to 24/7. I mean, wow. How amazing is that? The opportunities have never been greater for people to collaborate. But like what Jamie's saying here, Professional Christian Coaching Institute, PCCI, that's my primary business, one of 4, but that's my primary business. And all of them are based on a collaboration model. I have 0 W-2 employees in any of the businesses. Everybody comes alongside, and my mindset is very much in collaboration. How can we create a win-win? I have work here that you could do that's in your sweet spot. How can that also be a blessing for you? Not just in a paycheck, but how can that, like in Ruthie's case, how can that feed you exposure in the coaching world that she's in, Jamie, and that you're in? That's the way everything we do. All of the people who work on staff and faculty at PCCI are coaches in their own rights, and they gain income, yep, and they gain exposure, visibility, credibility, clientele, groups, all kinds of things through the various things that PCCI does. It's win-win. And of course, PCCI does everything it does because of all those people joining their forces with us.
Yeah, I love those points, Chris. This is really a win-win type of conversation to have in so many respects and so many different types of business opportunities. It's really, and you use another key word there, exposure. The thing that we get to do here on the screen is we get exposure to a wider audience because we're operating our strengths. Michael, like you talked about, we're all living this life, and we realized, hey, he's singing the same tune I'm singing. Let's kind of gather together here and make a little bit louder voice collaboratively. And that's what we've done here at EFM, is a way to kind of exponentially increase what we're doing. And when I think of collaboration, I think of the math on this, right? We're not just adding things, we're multiplying, because we get to, as four guys in the space, we get to multiply our efforts because of what we're doing together. And I love that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the mastermind group that we're in with Dan Miller. I mean, we just got off a call being interviewed on our friend's podcast. Just had a great conversation with her audience. We're offering value to her audience. Just the benefit of a win-win right there. Right before this call, we did that. Yeah.
Now, there is a pervasive saying, though, out there, and a myth that maybe we need to debunk a little bit and address. This idea that, what is the saying, Jamie? What's the only ship that doesn't sail?
Is a Carnival cruise ship.
This episode is not sponsored by Carnival Cruise Lines, just in case you're wondering.
Sponsored by Celebrity, right? That's the best one that we all like, right? Celebrity Cruise Line. No, but we've all heard that expression that the only ship that doesn't sail is a partnership. And we're told, be very careful with who you do business with. And I think there's truth in that.
Jamie, I'm glad you said that, because there's definitely wisdom in being cautious about partnerships. The only thing more painful to break apart than a business partnership probably is a marriage. I mean, when you find together and you invest huge amounts of time in big business ventures, that's a huge portion of your life. So to think very carefully and to spend a lot of time working through relational kinds of issues in a business partnership, that's just wisdom. But to take an across-the-board policy that says, just don't get into partnerships in this day and age when we can do so much in partnership with others through collaboration, I think maybe we just examine our terms a little bit and say, well, maybe we don't have to be all or nothing. Maybe we're a full formal partnership and this is what we do, 40 or 50 hours a week, or we're not doing partnership. Maybe we just say, this is like a gig thing we do on the side for 5-ish hours a week or so, because the whole of what we think we could do together is going to come out bigger than the sum of the parts, each of us individually. So we'll partner together in a collaborative relationship toward that specific goal, because it looks like it'll be better for all of us joining together, and it'll benefit each of us individually in what we're doing for the rest of our income and livelihood as well.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about relationships here at EFM and how important that is for us. And that's a big reason why we're doing this together. And I know we tell that story pretty often about, we're all sitting around in a hotel and we're passionate about the same things. And it was like, high five, let's do this, start the podcast. But I think sometimes we skip over everything in between that we've done to build these relationships, to invest in each other, to have sometimes really challenging conversations, and other times really uplifting, hopeful, visionary conversations. And there's been a lot of wrestling along the way just between us four to get to the place where we're saying, okay, I'm okay with hitching my wagon to these three guys. I feel confident in their integrity. I feel confident in who they are character-wise and how they do family, how they do marriage, how they do business. And so there's a lot that sometimes we skip over. I think it's just important to mention that we've wrestled pretty deeply with these things before we said, green light, let's go, let's do this.
Yeah, those are good examples, Michael, because you're absolutely right. Over 2 years ago is when we started this thing, and we have intentionally gone slow because we are essentially doing the due diligence along the way and having each other over at each other's houses, our families, seeing the life that we get to live together, having some of those awkward conversations, right? I mean, this is like dating each other. When you go into a good collaboration, you really need to be aware of what you're getting into and really what is the trust factor there. Chris, I can remember when the four of us were at your property a few months back, And it was just a sweet weekend to really share deeply from each other's hearts about our lives, our story, the vision, even for EFM. And going into your office, we referred to it as the upper room, but up there was just a great time together. Can you shed some light on that and what that meant for EFM?
That trust factor is so huge, isn't it? I mean, we can share all kinds of really fun experiences together, and we do. There's nothing like settling in and saying, wow, we're not going to go deep, we're already deep. And in that space of being so transparently known with each other, I think any of us who might have suggested at that point, yeah, well, but I still am not so sure about collaborating together, the others would have said, what? What are you talking about? The time that Jesus's disciples had to have had together, just walking the dusty roads and meeting in real upper rooms or out under the stars, whatever all they shared together, those places enabled them to build the relationships that then collaboratively together turned the world upside down. Obviously, Holy Spirit had something to do with that, but I think that does underscore the importance of saying, yeah, okay, so collaboration can be a good thing to do, and there's all kinds of technology practically to make it very possible. But you use the phrase dating, and we've jokingly said that about ourselves, that we're just going to spend time dating together, us four guys, because there you're getting to be known at that very deep level of whatever comes up, and out of that then, I think not only do you know you can trust and lean into the collaborative effort you had, you're fueling each other's creativity and all other kinds of ideas that you might have never thought of come tumbling out because they're coming out of a space of deep trust.
No kidding. And that was not easily won. There were moments when I was fighting mad at you, Jamie, or there was tears shed, or there was anger, and that's part of getting to know each other, as well as being honest about some of those emotions that are coming up, maybe some of our own woundedness that's going to affect the way we do business together. When you start to get close, something's going to come up, and it did for us. And you can either let that drive you apart, or that can be something that really cements your trust. And I think it did for us, obviously.
No, that's so true. It is in those the powerful moments, the fun, like you're referring to, or the breaking of bread together. But in those powerful discussions, and I think at its heart, doesn't anyone just want to know and be known? And I think that's what we've been able to do together, again, over time, but to really know each other and to be known. And that gives a whole new level of trust, a whole new level of strength in intertwining our roots together to stand strong and grow from there.
I think it makes you want to create things together too. There's something about the experience of enjoying such intimacy with others that, because iron sharpens iron, you start believing more in the veracity of your own ideas and the possibility of somebody else's idea, and you realize that working together, this could happen, this should happen, we could make this happen. It fuels maybe the risk-taking, the daring that's necessary, because you are experiencing the joy that comes from such deep relationship. Did you catch that, Jamie? I threw a word in there for you for the day.
What's the word of the week? What is
you didn't get that one?
It's the word of the week. The word of the week.
It already went over his head.
Veracity.
Veracity.
The veracity would be like the viability. The yeah, that could actually happen. That's a good idea, and I think it's not just pie in the sky. That could really happen.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And if we walk away with some profit, some tangible money to our name, great. But there's so much more to this than that. It's experiences. It's bleeding together. It's finding victory and success together and struggling together, facing things and supporting each other as we go through these things. And man, the depth that can happen, the connection, the friendship that comes out of doing something together just blows the amount of money that you could get out of the water. That's what life is for me.
I love what you guys shared there. This has been a great discussion on the value of partnerships. And there's been no greater time in history than to look for ways to partner with other people, to utilize your unique ability and someone else's to multiply that zone of genius that you can create in what you're doing and being able to look around. So what about you? When it comes to this idea of building something and growing something, look around your network, look around your connections. Who could you reach out to and get to better understand, date them, do the due diligence, as we talked about, really understand who it is that you want to go far with.
Or when there's a lot of excitement about potentially doing a partnership or a project with somebody else, I know for me, it's been easy to skip over those difficult conversations, skip over some of the messy details of how you're going to set that up because you're so excited about where that can lead. And I think that this is where a lot of folks get into trouble, is not being absolutely clear up front. Jamie, stop laughing, man.
I'm just smiling.
Yeah. Not being absolutely clear up front about what your expectations are and the other person involved, what their expectations are and how you see this playing out. And Chris, the giggles are here. Oh gosh. Now Jamie's got the giggles. I haven't seen Jamie have them before. That's amazing.
McCluskey's always serious. When he wrote in the chat, well, at least this will be the shorter episode, I was unhinged after that moment. So what about you? Do you want to sail with a bunch of people into success or go down like the Titanic? Until next time, this is the EFM podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Entrepreneurial Family Man podcast. Visit efmlife.com to connect with us and others like you who are pursuing success in enterprise, family, and marriage.